book is called Roses Are Pink and Your Feet Really Stink. This is Gilbert, and this is his teacher. The teacher said, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, so kids, you all have to write cards to the other kids in your class. Go ahead and be creative. And he thought, I want to write something nice for the girl I like. She's so pretty. She has smiley eyes. So he wrote, roses are red and violets are blue. Your eyes are so nice and I like you. Love, Gilbert. Then he remembered that one time his friend named Hank let him borrow his baseball glove when he didn't bring it, and he wrote, your name is Frank and it's not Hank. You let me use your mitt, so you I thank. Love, Gilbert. And Gilbert remembered one time Margaret, another little girl in his class, made fun of his glasses. I don't want to write a nice poem for Margaret. But he also remembered that he had to write a Valentine for his friend that was so funny. So he wrote for his friend Louis, he wrote, violets are blue, roses are pink, your feet are big, and they really stink. And Gilbert thought, that's going to make Louis laugh. But on Margaret, the girl that made fun of his glasses and made him sad, he wrote, roses are red, you pee-peed your bed, and I think you have rocks in your head. So he didn't want the teacher to know he wrote it, so he put the name Louis. He put his friend's name. Oh no. On Valentine's Day, they had to walk and give each other their Valentines on their desks. Miss Bird let everyone open their cards. One of Gilbert's cards had XXXXX all over it, so it was a mystery. And the card said, roses are red, violets are blue. You are my friend and I like you. And it was signed Patty. And Gilbert smiled at Patty and Patty smiled back. Gilbert opened the rest of his cards. And even Louis had opened... Be quiet. Louis had written a poem. You may be small, you're not very tall, but I like the way you play ball. Aw, he liked Louis, his friend, was Gilbert's friend. He's like, oh, I like this letter. And then he saw that Margaret, the mean girl, wrote him a Valentine's Day card too. He said, sometimes you're very sweet. Sometimes you are very sweet. I hope you brought nice cookies to eat. Love, Margaret. And he smiled to himself. Margaret thought he was very sweet. He looked over at Margaret, but she wasn't very happy about one of her Valentines. Uh-oh. She stung her tongue out at Louis, and she wasn't happy with a Valentine. And then Margaret pushed Louis, and then Louis called her a bad name, and they started fighting. Oh, no. Miss Bird was surprised. Everybody was upset. Oh. Miss Bird said, quiet, please. Valentine's Day is about liking each other and not about fighting. She made the class do workbooks for the rest of the day. Oh. When it was reading time, Margaret looked through all the Valentine's card again and said, I have 2 Valentine's Day cards from Louis. There was a good one and there's a bad one. And then Lewis said, I didn't write a bad one.
Motion detected at the camera in front of main door.
The dogs are making noise. Come over here. They're making noise. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed, guys. Go to bed. See, they went to bed. Did you see? Okay. Do you see you have to be fast like they went to bed? Look, look. Look, look. Rudy, I said go to bed. See? Okay. But I didn't write any bad Valentine's Day. Somebody else must have written my name. Huh. I have 2 Valentine's Day from Lewis, but I don't have any Valentine's Day from Gilbert. Uh-oh. Then he shouted, oh no, Gilbert wrote the bad cards and then signed our names. Quiet, please. And then Margaret was like, oh. I mean, Margaret. No, this is not Margaret. This is the cute one. During lunchtime, nobody wanted to sit next to Gilbert. Not even Patty, the cute girl. He could see Patty and Lewis talking at the other table. This one dropped his apple. Gilbert wondered if Lewis thought Patty had smiley eyes and a silly laugh too. He saw Margaret eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like she did every day. And Gilbert liked peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And he wished he had friends, and he wished he was eating one too. At recess, everybody else was playing. But nobody wanted to play with Gilbert. And maybe it was because he wrote a mean poem. And he was very sorry that he wrote 2 mean and nasty Valentines. When they all went in line to go inside, Patty asked Gilbert, Gilbert, why did you write bad things about your friends, Gilbert? Because Lewis tweaked my nose, and then Margaret made fun of my glasses. And Lewis said, I'm sorry I tweaked your nose, Gilbert. You can tweak mine too. And Gilbert gave Lewis a little tweak, but it didn't turn red. And Margaret said, okay, I'm sorry I made fun of your glasses. I'll wear them for the rest of the day if you want. She put on his glasses, but she couldn't see anything, so she gave him back. And he couldn't see anything either. He needed his glasses. In art class, Gilbert made 2 new Valentine's Day cards. And here it says, look, a kid is saying, making a Valentine's Day for grandma. And over here, they're making the cute girl was making a Valentine's Day card for mom. During spelling, Gilbert wrote a new poem for Lewis. Violets are blue, roses are pink. I'm sorry I said that your feet really stink. And then he wrote another one for Margaret. Roses are red, Jelly is sweet. You smell as good as the sandwich you eat. Then in math, Gilbert figured out that he had 364 days before he could write any more Valentines. Uh-oh, what the heck? They're giving each other a kiss. Finally, it was time for the party, and Gilbert gave the 2 new Valentines to Margaret and Louis, and then he passed out the cookies that his mom had made. See, he gave, look, these are the cookies that mom had made. And then over here it says, I love my teacher. Somebody wrote, I love my teacher. And then over here it says, Happy Valentine's Day. And then over here, there's Margaret and Louis reading the new Valentine's Day cards. Each cookie said, Happy Valentine's Day. Yum. Oops. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, that was the end.